Hello, future flight attendants. How are you all doing? I'm Jay. I'm from a very small town called Siliguri in the eastern part of India in the state of West Bengal. I've been flying for 11 years, and through my videos, I aim to inspire, educate, and motivate youngsters to pursue a career in the aviation industry. In today's video, I would like to actually share about some of my experiences as a flight attendant, especially in domestic airline. The reason why I'm making this video is because you all must have heard about the recent Indigo incident where the crew and the passenger were having a heated argument about some meal options, apparently. So in the video, the crew is heard telling the customer that the crew are not his servant, and rather they are an employee of the airline. This incident, honestly, is very, very common, especially in domestic airlines. I have flown in domestic airlines for almost 3.5 years with 2 different airlines, and I would strongly agree. I'm not surprised that an incident like this happened. It is kind of shameful, embarrassing that Indian passengers are like that. Quite a lot of them are like that. I had one flight when I was in SpiceJet back in Delhi, and because of during the winters, like fog is very common in Delhi, so the flights were usually delayed from morning, from early morning. So when one flight is delayed, it causes subsequent delays to all the other flights, because of one aircraft will have the schedule of doing these many flights in a day, for example, and if it gets delayed right in the morning, then the subsequent flights are delayed. It's just, that's how it is. So I remember I was operating Delhi Bombay, and the flight out of Delhi was delayed by 5 hours because of heavy fog. And once we landed in Bombay, the passengers who boarded the plane in that particular aircraft that day, everyone was like, they were frustrated, they were irritated, and it was chaotic. I understand as a human being, when you want something and it's not given to you, it is natural to feel frustrated. It is natural to feel that you're not being heard. But at the same time, it is also immature to take things personally, especially when you're in a public place. An airline, it handles millions and millions of passengers, in a monthly basis probably, or in a yearly basis, whatever be the case. So if any delays happen, more than anyone, it affects the airline itself. They incur huge losses because of one delay. So, okay, as a passenger, you might miss your connecting flight, but airline, their main job is to accommodate people, travelers. So they would try to give you a compensation. They'll try to put you in a different flight, whatever. As an airline employee, I have seen firsthand how much an airline would do to make sure that the customer, the traveler, the passenger comes back to them, give them repeated business. So anyway, going back to that flight, the boarding was horrible. My gosh, it was just horrible, and people were frustrated and they were complaining so much why the delay, even though everybody knew that there was fog in Delhi, and dense fog. I mean, if you have been in Delhi, you know what I'm talking about. This was during Jan or December, like dense fog, all flights are delayed and everything. And then people start attacking the crew. We were 4 girls in that flight, and all of us are between the age of 18 to 23, 24, 25 at the most, and this passengers, they're all age ranging from, let's say, 5 to 60, 70 years old. So you expect some kind of matured behavior from these people, but unfortunately something happens to them when they board the plane. They think that they own the crew, that they can just talk whatever rubbish is going on in their head. it's just sad. So in that flight, I remember one lady was so mad. She was so mad at the delay. She screamed at me like I was facing the back of the aircraft while doing service with my colleague. You know, we were in a cart. We were doing the service, and this lady, she, as soon as I reached to her row to serve her, I asked her, what would you like? And she just lost it at me. You know, you don't know how to work, and you don't know how to do your service, and you're taking so long, and you know, you're taking so much time to talk to that person sitting in that row. And my God, like, she shouted at me like even my dad never shouted at me so much. And my dad was like, he was a super strict person, you know, while we were growing up. Anyway, like, she was extremely rude, like as rude as you can think. Like, you know, just the rudest person that you've come across in your life, multiplied by 5 or 10 times maybe. She was that rude to me. I mean, as a cabin crew, I'm trained to suck it all up. Okay, so I cannot argue. I'm not supposed to argue. I'm not supposed to take it personally. So that's what I did. But sometimes it gets difficult, you know, like when people really push the buttons. So anyway, I was trying to explain myself, you know, as usual. My, like, cabin crew standard operating procedure is, okay, apologize. So I started, you know, like frantically apologizing to her, like, I'm so sorry, ma'am, I'm really sorry. I was explaining herself why I was talking to the other passenger, you know, and all of that stuff, and I was trying to explain why the delay happened and everything, and she would not listen to me. She was so irate and loud. The husband was embarrassed, like I could see it on his face how embarrassed he was. But even the passengers seated around her, they felt like, okay, you know, this is not right. And when the lady wouldn't stop, I just told my colleague, you know, do you mind swapping the position? Let me come to your side, and if you don't mind, please come to my side, because I cannot face her anymore. I didn't say her, but I just said that, you know, I would like to be there. And then my colleague, he understood that, you know, how difficult it was. So he just came on this side of the cart. And yeah, so this was one of the incident. In the same flight, another passenger, he was like, please give us free food. So I'm like, okay, you know, if you ask me politely, I will speak to my senior, I will see what I can do, but you cannot demand, you know, like. And this guy, he was like, I mean, he saw that, you know, how people were pounding on us. He took advantage of it, and he saw, okay, you know, these girls, let's just, you know, bully them. So these two men, they were like, we want free food, you know, the flight was delayed, we don't want to pay for it, and you know, this is what nonsense. And I could see it in their eyes, as they were just, you know, having fun bullying me, you know, bullying the crew. And I told them, sir, you know, like, there's a way to speak. I would really appreciate if you would treat us as humans, you know, just treat us respectfully, talk to us with courtesy, and you know, I will see what I can do. Immediately the guys, they kind of like came back to the senses, or I don't know, I think they realized that, okay, it's not fun anymore, and they were like, oh, okay, madam, okay. And they, you know, they continued their business. I mean, there was no free food, but like this, in the same flight, another passenger, he was like furious at the cabin crew in charge, or you know, the purser, as some of you might know. And he started attacking her personally. You know, my daughter is your age, and you know, if my daughter does something like this, I will not forgive her. Like it was our fault that we made the delay. And she started crying, you know, by the end of the flight. It was such a horrible flight, my God. And I feel like I could feel, you know, when I saw the video of this Indigo girl, I could feel it, that, you know, it's so common to see in Indian flights, in people behaving like that. It is so embarrassing. It is so shameful, like, you know. And these are educated people, you know, like they're educated people, and they have the money to travel. Like in another of my flight, there was this old couple, and I remember, and this incident was when I was with Go First, and I was very new. And low cost airlines, you know, we sell everything. We used to sell everything, food on board and drinks and everything. So these older couple, they had tea and coffee, something like that, and then they gave me they didn't have the change, so, and their money was basically in their bag, which was in the hat rack. So I was like, you know, okay, you finish your tea, coffee, whatever, I will come back before. Now domestic flights are usually like, you know, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours at the most. I remember, like, it was less than 2 hours flight. So after finishing the service and everything, I went back to them to ask for the money, and the gentleman, I mean, the old man, he got so mad at me. He's like, you think I'm gonna run away with your money? I will give your money back. My gosh. And I was like, okay, like, I'm just like, it's all right, just tell me, I'll come back later. I mean, just as long as you give it to me before you leave the aircraft, I'm good. But I was young, like I was 21 years old, and I went to the galley and I started crying because he was so rude to me. So yeah, these things happen as a crew. We face all these incidents on a daily basis. If you're a crew, if you're a new crew, in this job, or if you want to be a flight attendant in future, do not take these things personally when they happen to you, because you're going to meet so many people. You're going to meet loads of amazing people. You're also going to meet a few people who are, like not grateful, who are just discourteous, and they don't care. They feel entitled, and like they're just the wrong kind of people. Like that's how the world is. You have bad people, you have good people. So try to count your blessings, and don't take things personally. People are like that. Like some people, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like that's how it is. It's just unfortunate. So if you're a passenger and you're watching this video, please be nice to the crew. We usually have very, very busy rosters. I'm not saying that if somebody is rude, you let them get away with it. Hell no. If somebody is rude, you must talk to the flight purser in that flight, or confront that you have not been treated properly. But do not take advantage of the crew's position, because we cannot argue with you. We cannot teach you manners. Outside an aircraft, like in a normal conversation, if somebody is rude to you, you are the natural reflex is to give it back to them, the way they gave it to you. But as in the customer service, we cannot do that. So if you have a problem, try to see if there's a solution. If the crew is telling this, there is no vegetarian left, so maybe there isn't. It's not the end of the world. And if you know that you cannot go without a vegetarian in a 2 hours flight, then might as well bring your own vegetarian food, or pre-book a vegetarian meal. There are loads of ways to solve a problem. So proactively try to look towards it, because once the aircraft door closes, there are not many options that the crew can do about it. So try to be more prepared for your journey, if you're a passenger. So all right, I spoke for quite a long time about passenger experiences, but yeah, this happens. So if you have any such an interesting incidents with you, then you can share it with me in the comment section below. Also, I would give my personal opinion about what the crew did. Was it right or wrong? There's no right and wrong. I mean, I as a crew, I totally understand why she must have gave it back, because quite frankly, I've flown with crew from certain cultures who will not take shit from you. They will tell it to you on your face. I have had in my flight a crew from another country, and he was dealing with a passenger who was shouting at him, and he just told him politely, sir, there is no need to raise your voice. There is no need to be frustrated. The passenger, he felt embarrassed, and he just kept quiet. So there are nationalities who would do that. Unfortunately, our culture is different. We are we are taught not to raise our voices, always to be submissive and take it whatever comes, all of that stuff. So in some sense, I think I applaud the girl that she had the guts to to shut the passenger up, but on the other hand, don't do it if you're a crew, or if you want to be a crew, because no matter how right you are in customer service, the customer is always right. The airline might give you a warning letter, and it's not worth it, because this is not the last rude passenger you're going to meet. You're going to meet so many rude passengers, but you know what, doesn't matter. You just listen from one ear, from the other ear, let it just go, go away. Don't take anything personal. It's not worth it. There are better things. There are more blessings in this job than there are bad things like this. So all right guys, take care and see you in the next video. Bye bye.